Well, hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this classic wooden motor cruiser here in Victoria, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie, all the while fixing it and others up for some pretty ambitious cruising. If that's the sort of thing you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. Well, this is a banner week. The parts to fix the rear axle in my Land Rover have arrived, and I got to get up to Genoa this week and install them. How that went, you'll have to wait to find out. I also played a little bit more with trying to resolve different operations for removing whatever is on the cabin top of MV Geordie, and I think I've come up with a solution. Anyway, let's jump back in time and see how all that went. Well, hello, I'm back in Genoa. I am in my grubbies, and that can only mean one thing. Lady Zephyrus has kindly lent me her car again, and now we can get back to working on the Rover because, yes, the parts have arrived. At least the parts for the rear axle. We'll know at the end of today, hopefully, exactly what happened to this truck. And, well, here we go. Ooh, gaskets. Ooh, O-rings. Ooh, a sticker. Genuine parts. Dust cap and a new 24 spline drive flange. And because I'm starting to learn a little bit about the way these things last, how about a spare 24 spline drive flange? There we go. Gonna need a bigger hammer. Okay, so now we'll find out if the last remaining thing that I've been concerned about, which are the spider gears inside the differential. In other words, the magic gears that do the going around in circle thing. And if you want to learn about that, just Google how a differential works. But there's a ton more gears in here, and they're hidden inside the ARB air locking differential that's in here. Anyway, bottom line is, now that I've installed one axle shaft, but I haven't installed the other, if I turn the input to the differential, technically the truck thinks it's going around a corner. In other words, this wheel has to go a lot slower than that wheel, so it will engage those spider gears, and if they're nice and smooth, I will be very happy, and if I hear crunching, I don't even want to go there. Can't even tell it's happening. This little dust shield should be pulled off so it doesn't make... There we go. Anyway, I think this is looking really good. Can't wait for the test drive though. I'm not going to struggle with that nasty cap that will not fit. Beauty. we're almost ready for a test drive. And yes, I will come back and re-torque those at some point. All right then, this is it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, except for a highway test, I'm gonna say we're there. We're there. You know, I think I can say this is a dawn of a new era for the truck. I'm going to put a lot more attention into it in the next little while because I got big plans for it. The next big thing that's happening, and I may have alluded to it, is a new gas tank, and that is paid for, it's on its way, and it's super, super nice custom aluminum fuel tank from Pangolin Industries. Anyway, there's going to be a whole episode on that install for all of you Rover buffs. Okay. All right then. One of the most common suggestions for a way I might be able to get whatever this is off the cabin tops is with a power planer. And well, I have a power planer and I currently have some pretty sketchy blades in it, so it's a good time to try this. So if this works at all, I'll have to create some sort of dust collection because this will produce an awful big mess. But right now I can just shoot it into the sort of enclosure of the upper helm here where none of it will go in the water or anywhere else unhappy. All I really want to do is see if I can just clean up a patch and how long it takes to do that and how well this might work. We're all in this together. Well, I'm going to say you did it. I'm not done. It's not fast. It's not quiet. I'm not sure it's a solution. Come on, come on, come on. All right, let's try something else. Heat gun and carbide scrapers. Well, this is an old standby for me. Generally works very well, but on this stuff, well, as I expected, that does work, but it's going to be very, very slow. This stuff is really, really bonded to the plywood. I have a couple other ideas. Okay, next on the list would be the fine tool, or otherwise known as an oscillating tool. Now, this is just a regular fine tool blade. This isn't what I intended to try today. Fine, or all these oscillating tools have a ton of different sort of blades. And one of them is basically, I think it's like considered a linoleum knife. It's a wide steel blade with no teeth on it. It's just a knife edge. And it slides back and forth, centered on the radius of the rotation here. And it might be very effective at getting under there. I had ordered one and it didn't arrive in time to try it. But then someone told me, actually, you'd be surprised what you could do just with the fine tool. Let's dig in. I'm going to say right off the bat, you can have a look here. Because whatever's on here is so well bonded to the wood, there really isn't any sort of a boundary between this material and the plywood. So there's nothing to get underneath. There's no way to really sort of create a fissure and then work at it, which tells me I don't really think the linoleum knife thing is going to be much good either. One more thing, and that's sanding. This is a very, very aggressive sander. It has a what I call killer mode, or whatever you want to call it, where it is both spinning like a grinder and vibrating like a random orbital. I only have 80 grit on here right now, but of course I could get much coarser, but this will give me an idea what the sanding might look like. The other huge advantage of this is Abernet, really well ventilated sanding mesh, and this has a fantastic dust recovery system on it. So this particular solution would be almost entirely dustless. I'm not connecting it up right now because I'm only going to do a tiny patch. We'll see how it works out. Okay. Okay, here's the area I just worked on, and you can see it does actually cut through, and that's pretty much down to the wood. The thing about it, of course, is that it's quite slow, and these discs are really quite expensive, so it would take hundreds and hundreds of discs probably to finish the deck this way. But you can see that I can remove, or at least take all the bumps off this porch paint non-skid quite quickly. And that would put me in a position where I don't bother taking this off the roof. I simply get it flat because this is so well bonded to that. As many of you have pointed out, I don't need to take it down to wood. I just need to get it to a stable, solid, flat surface that then I can refiberglass over. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, hello and welcome to the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week, coming to you this week again from the cozy wheelhouse of MV Poem in beautiful downtown Victoria, British Columbia. Let's get straight to the beer. This is Timothy Taylor's Landlord, and the reason we're drinking this beer this week is because a few weeks ago I passed over this as I was reaching for something in the import section of my local establishment, and someone pointed out that I should not have passed over it. And I'll tell you, it does say on the back of this fine British beer that is the 4-time supreme champion of British beer, that is the drinker's favorite. I could also point out that it is made from water from Knowles River. The Knowles River, spelled exactly the same as my name without the final S. Anyway, it's a much loved beer in Britain apparently, and fills this glass, although I realize this is a stout glass, just perfectly. Cheers. Let's see what we think of this. Wow. That totally caught me off guard. That's not what the initial taste was. It followed through with a real malty, warm, it says it's a pale ale, but it's, anyway, oh, it's rich. It's very rich. It's also very carbonated. Some of you will say I should have poured this a little harder, but it wouldn't have fit in the glass then. Okay. It's fabulous, and there's an abundance of it at my store, which proves it must be very popular. Let's get straight to the paperwork. This week's winner of the Travels with Geordie t-shirt is MG1AC052, or approximately MGIACO52. You are last week's Travels with Geordie t-shirt winner. Congratulations. Get a hold of me. We'll make sure you get your shirt. Coming aboard as supporters on PayPal over the last week or so is Marcus Weber. Thank you so much, Marcus, and Richard Ullman. Thank you to both of you. I'm very, very grateful. Well, I am so tremendously pleased to finally get to the end of the saga of what the heck crunched in the Land Rover. Many of you will say, for crying out loud, what a dramatic outcome to a very, very simple problem. And yes, I think I've already taken the heat for that. But the truck is back together and seems to be running perfectly. Now I will change the diff oil in it now that I have received a brand new diff gasket, and we'll make sure that everything in the rear end is happy and ready to go. I did also mention that the truck is getting a new fuel tank. That's because the existing tank is just weeping slightly, not actually dripping on the ground, but I don't feel comfortable driving it certain places like that. So we'll get that sorted out, and I mentioned the tank is ordered, paid for, and I realize as of today it's on its way, which is fantastic, and it's a super tank. You'll be pretty excited to see it. Failing that, the truck is going to be back on the road, and that's why I am going to use the word of the week, mobile. Mobile is the word of the week. Honestly, I'm not quite yet mobile, but I think you know what I mean. Cheers. See you next week when I'll be closer to mobile. That's awesome.